Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to From Corporate to Creative with your host, Kelly Gallia. Our show is designed to help you make the leap from corporate to creative, and if you're already in the creative business, we'll help inspire you to create success on your terms. Each episode, we'll focus on topics to help creative professionals like you to express your creativity, pursue your passions, and find freedom, flexibility, and fun in your own creative business. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Kelly Gallia, and I am just thrilled that you are here with us today. We have a very important guest with us, and she is going to tell us about the well-behaved woman's dilemma, and I'm sure many of us can relate to that. So I'm thrilled that we have Jen Duchene on the phone today. Before I get started, I do want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by a special report that we have available over at our Facebook page. If you go to facebook.com/corporate2creative, that special report is called Creating Success on Your Terms, 3 Simple Steps You Can Take Today. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Jen. Oh, she has quite a resume, and I just adore her. Actually, before I share her bio, I just want to tell you how I met Jen. We actually were co-presenters at an interior redesign and staging conference, and we hit it off immediately. And I just knew that we would have a long and beautiful relationship together, and so I'm thrilled to bring her to the show. So Jennifer is creator of The Polite Woman's Guide to Radical Rediscovery. She's also author of the bestseller book, Chic Cocoon, 7 Steps to Creating Your Selfish Space. Jen has been honored with the outstanding achievement of being named one of the top 20 interior design firms by San Jose Business Journal. She has more than 15 years' experience in design, color, and rearranging furniture, and her passion is to share design insights and inspire audiences worldwide. She's a graduate of the UCLA Interior and Environmental Program, and as such, she earned many accreditations. In addition to this, Jennifer is also a character code coach, and she helps women to grow their businesses. Now, when she isn't doing all of these things, Jennifer does enjoy relaxing with her family and friends, and she currently resides in Burlingame, California. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm delighted to be here.
We're so happy you are here. So tell us, I mean, we're probably thinking well-behaved women, polite women. Who or what is a polite woman? How do you define her?
Well, I define a polite woman as being a woman who is always or often saying yes to other people or wanting to help other people and at the cost of themselves, basically, and always trying to fix people or fix things or do the right thing, you know, good manners, not hurt people's feelings, not tell people what you think in case you upset them, you know, not wanting to deal with any of that messy ugliness that human beings have, you know, losing their temper or getting angry. So a polite woman swallows how she feels, you know, and it can be in your own environment, so you do everything for everyone else, thinking they don't know how to do it, so you have to take care of them, or you do it at work, you know, fixing everything and being invisible in the background, so nobody even knows you're there.
Yeah, and I can imagine that really can stop us from getting what we want when we are polite women. And I know so many of us who are in the corporate world still, or those who've already made that leap into their own businesses, this is probably something that we all struggle with. So how or what actually can stop a woman then from getting what she wants?
Well, what stops a woman is often because she's so busy helping everyone else, or worrying that other people need her, that she's not thinking about herself. So basically she's pushing herself and her feelings, her emotions, her desires. She's swallowing them, pushing them down, pretending they don't exist, and then kind of in a way acting as a martyr. I mean, we don't all act as martyrs, but there's moments where you think, oh, I'm doing all this stuff for you, and and not asking, not putting it out there. It's like there's that old joke that they always talk about when men and women have a conversation, or even parents, moms and children, and then they'll say, well, what's wrong? And it's like a woman always thinks that somebody else is going to be able to read her mind, or she always says things like nothing's wrong. But the truth is, if you don't put it out there, if you don't ask for what you want, nobody's going to know. Somebody was actually telling me a story how they were always going with a friend on a holiday to a hotel, and politely she would say, oh, which bed, you take the better bed, and she always thought the friend would say, no, you take it. But the friend didn't. Eventually they resolved it. But you see, this is what happens, is you don't get what you want because you're so busy being polite and letting everyone else go in front of you,
Right. And really making assumptions about what other people want too, right?
Exactly, because you think somebody else, like maybe the other person didn't want that bed, right? But we always think that we know what other people want, and often we think we know what's better for other people. So instead of just letting them do what they want to do, even with children, right? Instead of trying to make them do the right thing or worrying about what the neighbors think, just speaking out, like you say, and getting our point across, and just saying, well, this is what I want. And if you can't get it, that's fine, but at least you said it, right?
I don't know if you saw that. It must have been on Facebook maybe yesterday or the day before. It's probably gone around quite a bit, but it was one of those, dangerous things when women say, such as, fine, never mind, I'm okay.
Yeah. I think I saw something like that. Yeah.
And I think, we can all relate to that at some point in our own lives, or we know people around us who are struggling with those things. So I'm really glad that we're having this conversation today. So, Jen, why don't you tell us, I'm so fascinated, the polite woman, where did this name come from?
Well, it was interesting because I've been, I wrote a book, my book, Chic Cocoon, and it was really about, women finding their power. And I've been doing some coaching and talking about this different stuff and how to help women find their style and the essence of who they are, and, finding their truth, their voice. And I was telling them about how I feel because I have such a hard time. I'm getting better, but I've had such a hard time kind of losing my temper in a sense, or getting to the point where, people often say insulting things or things I don't agree with, and having a hard time putting them in their place, and really saying what I think. And so they kind of came up with this saying, oh, well, what about that? And I'm like, oh, that's perfect, the polite woman, because that's exactly who I am, right? That's my dilemma, that stopped me from saying things or being a certain way, because I'm always worried about, I want to be liked, I want to make other people happy, and I grew up thinking that if you did all the right things, someday I would get what I wanted, and that thing about not being selfish. So basically, that's where it came from, and then realizing how much that feeds into life.
Absolutely, and I think as women, we're always challenged with walking that fine line between, are you being aggressive or are you being assertive? And really, in so many ways, not being encouraged to be either, right?
Exactly.
And not even to assert oneself. So.
Yeah, well,
I know is. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I think the media and the world basically encourages us to feel like we're being aggressive if we say, speak our mind, right? It's like a woman who's in business, who's or even a mother who at home, who's outspoken and gets things done, is often considered a bitch, or somebody unpleasant. Nobody wants to deal with them.
Right. Well, we're here to tell you, ladies, especially, if you're looking to make the leap from corporate, maybe you've had some tough times in your corporate environment fitting in. Maybe that's why you've always felt this call to make a leap, because you are more assertive. And I have to say, too, when you already are in business, you have to be assertive. It's an absolute must, or you will not survive in your business. And again, we're saying assertive, not aggressive, and knowing what you want. Go ahead and be a bitch if that's what people think you are.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm all for that. It's like you just have to own who you are,
Exactly.
Instead of pretending, right? And
So,
I think a lot of times women are aggressive or feel angry because they think that's the way they get results, because they keep quiet and they don't say anything until it's kind of that thing with the bullying tactic, right? You just keep quiet, you don't say anything. It's not because you don't know something's going on. You're just too polite to respond until eventually, you just get so mad that it comes out aggressive.
Right. So we've been talking a little bit about that and asserting yourself, but can you give us some more specific tools or specific ideas that a woman can use to let go of that polite mask that she's hiding behind?
Well, one of the things she can definitely do is to find her myth. That's what I call it. What are the things, the beliefs that you're holding that are not even your own beliefs? We have these things like that blondes have more fun, or men are always more successful, or whatever it is. Women can't make money. We have things that we grew up with. So if you can kind of dig into that and figure out what it is, the myth that's holding you back. Another thing is to get really clear about what do you want? What do you really want? What are you interested in? And even if you're interested in a million things, there are things that you have to do. You have to set boundaries because there's only so much you can do. And a very important thing to remember is to go back and take time to be on your own and to do some what we call indulgent things, or be selfish. Set those kind of boundaries with your family, with your coworkers, with people in the world that are asking you to do things, so that you get very familiar with saying no. Because the more you can say no to things you don't want, and I mean that's in business too, right? You just can't say yes to everything that comes along, no matter how fabulous it may sound. Maybe you can do it later, but if you spread yourself too thin, you just can't do it all, and you can't have it all. And the truth is, you don't want it all. So make a list of the things that you really do want. What is important to you? What things don't you want to compromise on? And then there may be a lot of other things that you don't mind compromising on. But spend the time, go in, like I say, your Chic Cocoon or whatever space you have, because I believe women need to go somewhere or some place where they take themselves away from tasks so they're not distracted and not respond to anyone else, but just focus on what they're doing. And get creative. Do something that makes you feel good, right? It doesn't feel like you're just doing it because you have to, but do something you love that gives you pleasure, that makes you remember who you are. And actually our bodies are a great, it really does tell us what's going on. So if you pay attention to your body, because often when things happen or we have some kind of rash or we start feeling bad, it's all connected to our body, right? Because our body also holds our instincts. So the better you get at reading your instincts, better you are at responding, remembering to breathe, and do something that makes your body feel good too, because we can't be here if it's not for our bodies. So we really need our bodies. So a lot of times we get very hooked up in our heads, in our minds. We overthink things, and we don't trust our instincts. That gut feeling thing. We really, if somebody doesn't feel good, if a situation doesn't feel good, if we know we're too tired, then it's time to let go of it. And
isn't it funny too that it seems to me so ironic that as women we trust that instinct when it comes to everyone else, and we give them that time and space to be indulgent and do creative things for themselves. So we need to give ourselves that same courtesy.
Exactly. That's very important. And plus, by doing the same thing of allowing ourselves to speak our truth and live and do the things we want, and we allow other people to do the same. So we don't have to follow after them, making sure they do the things they need to do. They do it or they don't do it, and they take the consequences, and we do the same, right?
Exactly.
But yeah.
So tell us more, because we talked about the Polite Woman's Guide to Radical Rediscovery. Tell us more about Radical Rediscovery and what the benefits are of that.
Well, the Radical Rediscovery is really about going back to who you were behind the mask of being the polite woman, because that's just a veneer, right? We created that so that we could survive and keep everything together, but it actually turns out that keeping everything together is very dangerous, because it becomes a poison. We become poisoned with all the stuff we're holding in and all the lies we're living, just to keep the peace, so we don't upset anyone, or whatever the reason is that we don't want to do it. And we also, women start to feel overwhelmed because you're trying to do too many things. So the idea of the radical, and that's where it comes, because radical really means a big change. It's something that really shifts the way you think. So it's about rethinking who you are, going back to what you really want to do. And you don't have to have the answer right now. So that's one thing, going back and discovering who you are, to your instincts, to your core of your being that woman and owning that woman, whoever she is, accepting her, flaws and all, and not beating herself up. Don't beat yourself up because you're not perfect. You have to fall in love with yourself and see yourself as wonderful and beautiful. And you can always fix that later, but you're not going to be able to do anything if you keep beating yourself up. So that's part of the radical change that needs to happen. It's kind of digging up and finding that lost young girl you once were, your hopes and dreams, and really owning abundance and the goodness that it is in your life right now, because we can all talk about how bad our lives are or how bad we feel, but we really need to just shift the way we see it, our perception. We need to shift our perception so we can enjoy ourselves, right? And make the most of it. And remember to take time off to put down that computer, that work, because especially now we're in this thing where we can constantly work. It's so easy. We've got all the mobile things, right? The phone is always on. How many people pick up the phone the first thing in the morning to see who's called them or what messages? You can stay up all night doing stuff that's online. But then are we remembering our bodies, right? Are we doing all the things that we need to shift? Because movement is a huge part of coming back to ourselves, to being that child, to kind of going into that place of wonder, finding that, what I like to call the innocence, that we've lost, right? It's like we've covered ourselves in so many things and so many expectations. It's kind of like we don't like to see ourselves behaving as children, whereas being a child or being childlike is actually something we should strive for, right? It's having that glee of life.
Takes all the pressure off.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off. It's fun. You move into that ease. You let go of that struggle. It's not so hard then.
Exactly. And you get out of judgment, right? When you don't have an expectation, if you accept people for who they are, and you accept yourself for who you are, flaws and all, and you're good with it, you can still work to improve it, but you're good with who you are, you're good with your life. Everything just flows so much better, right? When you're expecting good things. And when you can ask for what you want and you feel good about it, that's very radical for most of us, right? It's like a huge shift. And when you move there, then you can still have manners when it works, right? Like we talked about, it's about being assertive. You can still look good and have manners, but not be locked into what the neighbors think or, the good opinion of others, wanting to be liked. That's like a big thing, right? And wanting to...
I love what you just said, though. Ask for what you want and feel good about it. I love that. So, Jennifer, you and I could talk all day. But I want to make sure that people get the information they need. So I want to first let them know about, because we did talk about your book, at the beginning, and we're going to go into that a little bit more. But Le Chic Cocoon is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and there are lots of sites that are carrying Jen's book. But go check it out. You can read the reviews there. It is a fabulous book. I was fortunate to be one of the first people to read it, and I got to provide some input. So I just encourage you all, because we do need a space. So while we're talking about that, Jen, why don't you tell everybody who's listening what is Le Chic Cocoon, and how does this then help a polite woman?
Well, a Le Chic Cocoon is a space that a woman can go to. It's like her secret space. It's like the man cave for women. She
right.
goes there.
It sounds a lot better.
Yeah, it sounds a lot, soft and cozy and warm. And the idea is to have a place that is a secret place, a secret retreat, a spiritual retreat that you can go to and do things that make you feel good. And so it's all about you. It's about that, what we're talking about, coming back to yourself and recognizing yourself and giving yourself permission to be you in a space that's all your own. And if you don't have a room or a place to create it where you feel good, then you can take another room and do double duty. So whether it's your bedroom or your bathroom, you can fix it up so it looks good. Sometimes we just need a few little props to make a room feel luxurious. Candles, some flowers, some special art, or I like to encourage women to have a talisman, what I call it, some special piece, whatever it is. And it can be really small, but something that really reminds you of who you are, your inner soul, something that touches you. And just being in a place that honors you. And if you can't do it in your home, you can certainly do it going somewhere else. Take yourself off to a museum or outdoors somewhere, coffee shop, and just indulge yourself, right? Remember that you are the most important thing in your life. And if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of anyone else very well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we always hear the analogy of the oxygen mask, right? Put that on yourself before assisting others. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's very freeing.
And I like the distinction. Well, I like the distinction you've made, too, because I think so many times people hear that they need a space of their own, and they immediately think, well, I don't have any extra rooms, I don't have extra space, but it can be as simple as creating a sacred area for yourself. I know some people set up altars or having that talisman, as you're saying, and having something that is special to you that you can see very easily.
Exactly.
So tell us what style has got to do with a woman claiming her space then?
Well, I think style has everything to do with it, especially being a decorator, right? That's
why we want to know.
Well, what it is, to me, what style is, what I truly believe style is it's about you being comfortable with who you are and owning the things you want to do. So you create a world that recognizes that for you. So you don't have to apologize no matter what you're doing. And, so if you're the kind of person that enjoys wearing jeans and having comfortable sofas covered in denim or, and checks, then that's fine. That's your style. If you want to serve hamburgers when you have dinner, guests coming over, it's that kind of thing. It's really finding that core of who you are and being honest with it in the inside and on the outside. So you don't have to pretend, And that's what, to me, what good manners is. It's, yes, you can be polite in the sense when you know how to talk to people. You don't have to be rude or any of that stuff. But it's feeling very comfortable in your skin and being in a surrounding that makes you feel comfortable. So, somebody else may not like your style or may say, oh, I don't like having flowers everywhere, or, you shouldn't have it. But if that's what makes you happy, right? If you want to be in a room with pink and have lace and soft tulle everywhere, then you should, right? That's your style. That's the whole thing. And I think sometimes the reason why we feel adrift often is because we don't know who we are. Because, when you know who you are, you feel very comfortable about it, and so you should be able to project that, right? It's like when you go into your wardrobe and you wear clothes and you pull out clothes or you have clothes that don't feel comfortable. I know a lot of women who work in corporate don't like the outfits they make them wear. That's the same kind of thing, right? You want to be able to live in your home and entertain and get out there and do the kind of activities that make you feel more real and more connected to yourself and your body. If you don't like opera or you don't like country music, then don't pretend. You know how people say, oh, what do you want to do, especially with our partners? We'll often, oh, what do you like? And we'll just pretend we like things and we don't.
What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do?
Yeah, exactly. So, and how annoying is that when you think about it? Just time wasted when you probably have an idea that what you want to do, right?
Absolutely.
Or you should. Yeah. And what's the worst that can happen, right? If somebody says, no, I don't want to do that, well, at least you spoke up, right?
That's right. That's absolutely right. It's funny you brought up about the corporate the clothing and such. As soon as I left, the first thing I did was donated all my suits and such to Dress for Success, because I was like, I will never dress like that again. I love big, bright print, bold print,
Love it. Yeah.
And, Jen, too, as someone who does design and decorating, you've probably heard this a lot. This was one of the questions we got all the time in our design firm, and people would say, well, what's your style? And it's always, no, what is your style? Because we're creating a space for you and who you are. And I found it just hilarious so many times that people would ask us that, like, oh, we have a style that defines us, so we're going to put that in your home.
Yeah. Well, you don't know if the person's even going to enjoy it. And, there's a lot of misconception about style, what style is. Like, people think if they create their home or they dress in a certain way that they'll be more accepted. I don't think that's style at all. Like I just told you, what I think is style is owning who you are. That's stylish. And you make it work for you. Maybe you may need a few little pointers about how to neaten it up or to be more effective, but it really is about being honest in the open, right? You don't have to pretend. I mean, that's, to me, is what style is about, not pretending. Just accepting, and then you can hone into it and really enjoy it.
Knowing who you are and owning it.
No apologies needed.
That's right, no apologies. We only have a couple minutes left, so I know that you're doing a teleseminar today, so I'd love for you to share with our audience how they can get more information about it, what you're talking about today, anything you'd like to share with us on that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, what I'm talking about today is a lot of this type of thing about how to find your style, Polite Woman's Guide to Redefining Her Style, and a little bit more in depth about the myths and some ideas of what you can do. And you can actually find out more about it. Oops, I don't have the thing ready here. It's.
You want me to share the call-in number?
Or? Oh yeah, you can share in the call-in number. Here it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the call-in number for Jen's teleseminar, which is at noon Pacific time, is 530-881-1200, and then you'll need the access code 172903, then enter the pound sign. So again, that's 530-881-1200, and the access code is 172903, and then enter the pound sign at the end. And again, that is today at noon Pacific.
Fabulous.
Okay.
You said that well.
Excellent. Well, Jen, we have a link for your website, which is jenniferduchene.com. That is up on our show schedule there, so people can access that link through there, or they can type that in and get some more information about you. And they can also then sign up to get your free 3-tip series, and also to get on your mailing list to keep up with events that you're doing, which I see you are just out there big time. So I'm loving that you are owning who you are and you're taking it out to the world. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Kelly. That was fabulous. I so enjoyed chatting with you.
I loved it, too. Thanks again, and I hope you'll be a guest on our show again soon.
I would love to. Bye.
Okay, bye.